Can you walk me through how you typically use Docker in your development workflow?
Sure. I usually start by writing a Docker file that defines the environment, then use it to build and test locally. It helps keep dependencies consistent across machines.
That's a solid setup. Have you ever had to debug an issue inside a running container?
Yes, once I had an issue where a container was failing silently because of a missing environment variable. I used Docker exec and Docker logs to diagnose it.
Interesting. What tools or strategies did you use to inspect and fix the issue?
I typically use multi-stage builds and keep debugging tools like curl or bash in the earlier stage, then remove them in the final image. That way it stays clean but easy to debug early on.
Nice. How do you manage your Docker files across different environments like dev, staging, and production?
I maintain separate Docker files when the differences are major, but for small differences, I use ARGs and build time variables to adjust settings per environment.
Makes sense. Have you worked with Docker Compose or Kubernetes to orchestrate multi-container setups?
Yes, I've used Docker Compose for local dev with multiple services like DB and Redis. For production, I've worked with a team that used Kubernetes to manage deployments.
I see. When deploying a containerized app to production, what are the key things you watch out for?
I check for exposed ports, unused layers, and make sure health checks are in place. Monitoring resource usage and crash loops is also important.
Have you encountered a time when Docker didn't fit the use case? How did you handle that?
Once, we tried using Docker in a low-resource EOT device, but it was too heavy. We switched to using cross-compiled binaries instead.
Great. Thanks for walking me through your experience. One last question: what's your approach to keeping container images lean and secure?
I usually start with a slim base image like Alpine and regularly scan images using tools like Trivy or Docker Scout. I also pin dependencies to avoid pulling unverified updates.